Welcome back. Welcome back. Ed Martin here on a Pro America Report. Been looking forward to speaking to our next guest. I get his stuff all the time. I've read his stuff. I watch his stuff. He's Tom Trento. He's the CEO of Defend the Border. If you go to defendtheborder.org, you can see all about the work that he's done. There's lots of resources there. He has recently completed Death County and the River of Broken Dreams. I like this a lot because it's the first of 10 episodes, 10 TV episodes about Tom Homan. And Tom Homan was the director of Immigration and Customs Enforcement under President Trump. He's an extraordinary guy. And so, first of all, welcome, Tom Trento. How are you?
Hey, Ed, great to be here. You're doing wonderful work, carrying on a legacy for sure.
Well, you're nice to say thank you. But so, Tom, you know, you're a communicator, you're a movie maker, you have to have a vision. I could call you a visionary, but I don't mean to be sort of blowing smoke, but I mean, you have to have a vision to try to communicate to people. How have you had to adjust that in the modern moment? It's easy to say short attention span or something like that, dramatic tension or whatever. But I know as a practical matter, you've got to, you're a guy who knows words. I mean, even your background in theology, the word was made flesh. I mean, words. And so how have you had to adjust to this moment?
That's very, very interesting. I'm a trained apologist, Christian apologist.
Yeah.
I trained in Moody in Denver, but I was influenced tremendously by Francis Schaeffer, who was using 16 millimeter film back in the 70s and 80s.
Wow.
And I said, you know what? You've got to communicate difficult ideas visually to people. So that's what we're doing. But the problem, Ed, since the 70s and 80s, the world view of half of America has gone down the toilet to a neo-Marxist view, and you can't tell these people anything. Yeah. Unbelievable to communicate, but we got to keep trying.
No, that's exactly. I mean, that's part of the problem, right? I mean, part of the problem is people are in their silo, and they don't even give you a chance to break them out of the silo. I mean, sometimes we're in our own silos too, and we have to find our way out. I think conservatives tend to be more willing to get outside of the silos. I think most conservatives see what CNN is talking about. I'm not sure that liberals who watch CNN ever see what Newsmax or One America News or Fox is talking about. How about at the border, though? I mean, Tom, we're talking with Tom Trento, and again, his website is defendtheborder.org. You can learn a ton there about this docu-series or this episodic TV series, but also just about in general about these issues. But Tom, the border, it's got everything. I mean, it's got everything. It's got sex trafficking. It's got violence. It's got lawlessness. It's got mixed races. It's got women and men. It's got water. It's got everything. And yet the mainstream media and the popular sort of culture, they're just looking away. And my goodness, they've been able to get us to look away. That's the ultimate train wreck in America. And usually you want to rubberneck and look at it. And somehow they've been able to keep us away. How strange is this?
Yeah, well, taking the point you just made about the complex variety of issues, and when those are turned toward evil, they become destructive on a human level and on a national level. 2 years ago, we looked at that and we said, okay, how do we wake people up? Let's do it with media. Let's get a guy. We met Tom Homan, very humble man. He rose from being a beat cop, then on the border to the head of ICE. He worked for Reagan. Mm-hmm. 6 presidents. Obama gave him an award. Trump gave him an award. He and Trump sealed the border in 2017 and 18. So we take him down on the Texas border, and he has a sidearm and a cowboy hat and all the stuff you just talked about, the illegals coming across, the child trafficking. We weave our way through all of that, and we make a 45-minute investigative report showing how Joe Biden's administration came and reversed everything. Why? 2 reasons. Well, number one, they are neo-globalists in the true Marxist sense of the word, where Karl Marx said, no private ownership. That's extrapolated for a country not to own itself, so it can't have borders, number one. Number two, this whole influx of 5 million people, Ed, 5 million since President Biden got elected, 90% of whom do not legally qualify for asylum. This is nothing other than a massive Democrat voter registration campaign.
Oh, we're talking again with Tom Trento and defendtheborder.org. You can go there and check out all of his work there. He's a CEO of that organization. It's a 501c3 nonprofit, and especially focused, obviously, on the border crisis, but also the grassroots leadership, how you get things moving. Tom, I think I know the answer, but the solution to this is likely a national election. I mean, you want to say, oh, can't there be an attorney general, a state attorney general? Couldn't the governor here or there? Couldn't something? It feels and looks like it's a national election issue, and we got to wait for that. Is that the only hope?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, yes. Here's where it gets a little dark. The short answer is yes. We are a rule of law nation, except when it comes to the border and the people on the other side.
Right.
But following the rule of law, and we have to play fairly, we conservatives. Tuesday, November 5th, 2024, that's when we get, our team at defendtheborder.org gets a pass or fail grade. We need to elect a president who will secure the border. And when we talk about secure the border, we're talking about saving lives. There's a humane component to this. But here's where it gets dark. If we cannot elect pro-border security politicians statewide and federally, and the current administration continues, they're going to massively open up the border. And the sheriffs on the southern border are not going to put up with it. And we're going to have a dark day when the federal government's going to pit itself against state representation, law enforcement representation, and people, almost akin to when the Democrats were trying to keep, blacks out of schools, all of that stuff. There's going to be a showdown on the southern border if we don't do this by an election, and they're not going to put up with it, the people down on the border. It is illegal. It's treasonous. And if we can't roll out enough people in November 2024, maybe we deserve what will happen to us if we can't vote intelligently.
We're talking with Tom Trento. He's the CEO of Defend the Border, and he has recently launched the first of 10 episodes. It's called Death County and the River of Broken Dreams, sort of starring and featuring Tom Homan, nationally known expert on law enforcement as well as on ICE. Tom, you that was dark, but be optimistic now. I mean, the reality is you're communicating this message, and I encourage people to go to defendtheborder.org and watch this first episode, then support the work that Tom is doing. But when you get people paying attention, when you get them to see it, they start to move into the right understanding, right? I mean, part of this is, we wish you could wave a magic wand and you could do, I hate to say it to you because you're a filmmaker and I'm sure you look at it and go, wow, the Sound of Freedom experienced a once in, that's what is it? A black unicorn, a purple unicorn. I mean, that was a once in a, but what you're doing is, every day, if 10 more people watch the movie and watch this documentary and say, hey, what about that? And think about it, we're going to slowly, methodically, seriously change the hearts and minds, right? That's the point.
Absolutely. In fact, we synthesize it by saying we have a man, Tom Homan. We have a movie right now, Death County and the River of Broken Dreams. That's the first episode. Right. And we're creating a movement using the media, social media, mass media, and our grassroots organization capability to train people to participate in the political process, from an educational point of view, right, to vote intelligently. So it's a very comprehensive campaign.
Well, hey, listen, Tom, again, if people want to get involved, can they show that episode? Is it behind a paywall or anything? How did that practical? I just had about a minute left. Practically, what should they do?
Yeah, go to defendtheborder.org, watch Death County and the River of Broken Dreams, join our movement. If you can help financially, obviously, right, and contact us, get involved, and we'll change your life for the better. That's for sure. Very good. Hey, Tom Trento, thank you. I'm a big fan of Tom Homan. I've never met him, but I admire how he handles himself and how successful he's been. So I appreciate very much that you're highlighting him. So thank you, Tom Trento. And we will put all up on social media links to all the key stuff here so you can see it. And make sure you go to defendtheborder.org. And we have to take a break. We'll be right back. It's Ed Martin here on the Pro America Report. Back in a moment.